Hello and welcome to UK Fitness Hub. My name's Travis Tarrant and today we're going to be talking about the chest muscles, how we stretch them and a little bit of anatomy as well. Let's get into it. So in today's video, what we're going to cover is the basic anatomy of the two chest muscles, the pectoralis major and the pectoralis minor. We're going to go through what can happen when these muscles become chronically tight, and also we're going to go and talk about how to stretch them out. And it's better to do the stretching when we understand the basic functional anatomy of the two muscles. So let's talk about the pectoralis major first, and this is the bigger muscle of the two. And it actually starts at the humerus. It's at the intertabicular sulcus, and it runs to first point, which is clavicle, and it also runs these muscle fibers down the sternum. So if I was to leave that like so, what's going to happen when this muscle gets tight? Or it's going to pull in towards the body. And this is going to mean that the whole shoulder joint is going to come into internal rotation. So on my body, internal rotation of the shoulder and a tight pectoralis major would result in this. Now, although that seems quite extreme, that is what some people do walk around like, and it is becoming more and more common with people's jobs and being in seated positions. The other muscle is the pectoralis minor, and that runs from the coracoid process, which really is just an extension of the scapula. So if we look at the shoulder blade, the scapula, and we come all the way around to the front, the coracoid is just a frontal extension of that. And it runs this pectoralis minor to the third rib, the fourth rib, and the fifth rib. Now, if we think about this muscle becoming tight, so it wanting to come down, the knock-on effect of that is the scapula is going to rotate up and round. This can cause, if we think about the space in between where here and here is, what runs down here is the brachial plexus, and this is the nerves of the arm. So this is why people start to get pins and needles. If this pec minor is too tight, along with the pec major as well, in most cases, what can happen is, if you think about the brachial plexus and nerves being my finger, what's going to happen to my finger if all the muscles around it are chronically tight? Well, it's going to squeeze it and it's going to compress it, and that's going to lead to these kind of pins and needle pains all the way down through the arm. If we think about this functional anatomy, how we get into this position in the first place, so how we get tight, is really by two reasons. So the first reason is adaptive shortening. So if I'm always in this position, let's say I do a job in this position, and I'm in it for 8 hours a day, the muscles don't need to be lengthened. They can adapt to the new position you've put them in, which is a shortened position. The other reason is, let's say, for example, this skeleton has a perfectly healthy shoulder. However, the skeleton decides to go to the gym, and all the skeleton does is chest exercises. So never works the posterior back muscles and just does chest muscles. Over time, the chest is going to become dominant and strong in comparison to the back muscles, and this is going to facilitate that rounding of the shoulder. One of the other things I didn't cover was, if the scapula starts to move forwards due to pec minor being tight, you're going to start to see maybe things like winged scapula, where the scapula doesn't move correctly within the joint because it's out of position. What we're going to cover now is the basic stretches that we can do for the pec minor, the pec major, but also I'll do another video and we'll cover in that video rehabilitation exercises if the shoulder is too far forward. So I will cover that in another video, but today it's just stretching out these chest muscles and bringing them further apart. Let's get into it. So in gyms, the most common two stretches I see for chest are this one, which really for me is working more frontal part of the shoulder. And I also see this one as well. Now this is more similar to what we're going to be doing today, but the only difference is the position of this doesn't support my shoulder very well. So if I came quite abrasively into that, although I would feel it in my chest, there's no support through that shoulder joint. So what I want to do is create the support by using a squat rack or a door frame, anything really that's a sturdy object. I want to then brace my core and squeeze my glutes. That's going to get my pelvis aligned and make sure I don't put any stress through my lower back. From here, hand comes on, and then shoulder blades back. I'm slowly then going to bring my hand up until I feel that stretch in the pec minor right at the top. And then once I've done 30 seconds, I would switch sides. For the pec major, what I'm going to do, same position. So frontal part of the shoulder is securely on. Next, hand up. And then from here, I'm just going to slowly start to look away. Same thing, shoulder blades retracted, slowly start to look away. There's one more stretch that we can do. This is a nice chest opener as well. So one of my favorite chest stretches, especially at the end of a workout, is to use a foam roll. You can also use a yoga ball or a Bosu ball, and I'm going to let the whole frontal part of my shoulder and my chest completely relax. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come onto the foam roll and I'm going to get my head supported at the top. If you've got a longer foam roll, it will work even better, so you can support the whole of the spine. Now in position, my head's nice and relaxed. I'm going to squeeze my glutes. If I had a longer foam roll, I'd be able to come all the way to here. Hands come up, and then just above a T position, I'm just going to completely let myself relax. So I'm still squeezing my glutes, my hamstrings are on, making sure I've got that nice protected lower back. And I can just drop into position. You'll notice I'm going lower and lower as I start to relax. I feel this a little bit through the biceps as well, a little bit through the shoulders, but it is a great chest opener, something to add to routines. I would hold this for anywhere between really 30 seconds minimum and 2 minutes maximum, just depends how long you've got. And then once you're done, hands back and you can come all the way up. And that concludes the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and if you did learn something new, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. You've been watching UK Fitness Hub, and I've been Travis Tarrant. I'll see you soon.